I've had to close a business. That's a very hard decision to do.
Oh,
And to do that with my value system intact and integrity, I decided to be really transparent about it and tell everyone far in advance. I told the whole team about 18 months before I knew we'd have to close the business entirely. I didn't know how that would go down. That was pretty radical. It was amazing. I think like 98% of the people stayed. I had a few percentage, about 2% panicked and left and went and found a new job. But everyone else was, wow, this is because I made it
yeah.
exciting. Like, how often do you get to unwind a business? We've all built businesses. Actually, unwinding a business is
Yeah.
much more complicated. Just so many complexities, so many interesting things. People have still write me and say things like, I went back to school during those 18 months at night and got a degree, something I would never have done. You motivated me. Your transparency motivated me. So it really became a gift, even though it was one of the hardest things we had to do.
Welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we have with us Rebecca Macieira-Kaufmann. Rebecca is a seasoned CEO with broad leadership experience as a financial services leader in sales and marketing, risk management, and international business operations. Her extensive experience in the financial services industry and outstanding record of leading highly successful business turnarounds has resulted in effective scaling of new businesses and expanding of existing operations globally for Fortune 50 FS organizations. Wow, this is amazing, Rebecca. Thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. It's great. This sounds so exciting that I love the fact that you're transforming businesses.
It's a fun thing to do. And I'm in a new phase as well now with my own business and
Okay.
just written a book.
Well, can you share more? Can you elaborate, please?
Sure. So after 30 years in financial services, where I held so many exciting positions, including being CEO of turning around a bank, being chairman of that bank, and then running an international business in 100 countries. After all that travel and sitting on a lot of airplanes and loving all of it, I decided to launch my own business. So I now have my own business, RMK Group LC, where I advise startup CEOs and help them transform. I also sit on some boards. And then thirdly, I have written a book with my co-author, Lillian So. It's called Fit CEO, Be the Leader of Your Life. And it's about mental, physical, spiritual, emotional health as a leader.
Oh, very good. How do you operate when it comes to helping CEOs with their business? Is it similar to what you were doing before? Or is it the structure different now that you're doing it yourself?
It's very different. In the 30 years I was working for the Fortune 50 financial services companies, I was an operator, president, CEO, head of a business, managing thousands of people, running all the areas. Now I'm advising and consulting with these CEOs and their C's teams. So it's exciting work. And it's the book for me is a way of mentoring at scale. And the advisory business is a way of mentoring very closely one-on-one, either with the startup CEO or with their entire C staff.
Okay, that's excellent. Can you share some key points from your book that can help people make a decision to go and actually purchase that book to read it completely?
Sure. It's a very short book. I wanted something, Lillian, I wanted something that you could read in 2.5 hours or less. And just keep as a reference. So the book is split into 30 chapters and 5 sections. And the 5 sections are about commitment, boundaries, intention, self-care, and heart. And the intention area feels to me it super resonate with your focus as well. Commitment, it's about setting aside the time to really make the set of things we recommend a routine. The boundaries is about thinking less is more and creating ease and letting you manage things versus things manage you. And the intention is all about knowing your brand, aligning your stars, slowing down to speed up. Lots of different parts I could share there. Self care. A lot of the people I work with, I'm sure this is true for you as well, Shahid. They take care of their businesses, they take care of their families, but they don't take care of themselves at the same level. And so we really want, and the whole book is about self-care is as important as is the most important thing. So then you can take care of business and everyone else. And then last section of the book is on heart, striking a balance, managing your energy and having fun. Each chapter is just a few pages and each chapter ends with some recommended immediate and imperfect action.
Imperfect action. I love it. Just go and do it.
Yeah, just go and do it. Take that first step.
Yeah.
What struck me when I was looking at some of the work you do is that all the people who say, I got writer's block, I can't never write a book, or I could never start a business, or I can't, all that mental blockage. Our book is really about take the first step. Just imperfect and immediately take that first step. Start to write. Start your business.
Just do it.
If you don't take the first step, you're never going to go on that path.
Yeah, but that first step is very difficult for many people. And that's the purpose of the show too, to bring more and more awareness out there, is that as a human being, you do have some special gifts. Just take that step. Just take that step, because you're going to see how things just start opening up.
Yeah, there's so much. Or do what you do with just 1% more. Just that shift 1% more is you start gaining confidence. There's a lot of ways that we talk about how you can gain confidence to take that step. In the very first chapter, first section of the book on commitment, there are many ways to commit. We give a lot of hints. One is to buddy up. And the more you tell the world, if you tell the universe, I'm going to do X, whatever that X is, if it's going to be, I told the world probably 20 years ago, I wanted to write a book. And it was in my DNA that I one day would write a book. And people would ask me over time, like, how's it coming? I'm like, I've outlined the chapters. I'm going to do it when I leave corporate America. I had the plan. And so then when my star aligned, that I was ready, I had lots of notes and I had chapters outlined and written, so that then when I took that first step to actually sit down with Lillian and write the book, we had half the content done.
It's that intention, right?
Yes. I really think intention is such a key. I describe the book as an intentional total orchestration of mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional health. Being intentional, having intent, and sharing it with others, buddying up.
Yeah. Put yourself out there.
And people show up to help you.
Yeah. I remember a few years ago, I made a post and I was so nervous about it, but it was such a passionate thing from within that I said, no, I know this is happening. And I said that I want to impact millions of lives. And this was even before I launched this podcast. And then it just seems like everything is just fitting in to going towards that intention day by day, that 1% better. And it just seems like I'm just flowing in that direction.
Isn't that great? I love when you can commit and then have the intent. More and more of it can come with ease. And the more you worry about it, you block it. The more you can say, I am going to do it and build it and keep taking one step at a time, the ease starts to come. It's almost like oiling a machine or building muscle strength. And so we talk a lot about the interaction between, if you build the muscle strength, you then have the stamina for the mental part. And if you're managing the mental part, you have the energy for the emotional part. All of these pieces, and then making time for that spiritual part to think about things that are much bigger than us and contemplate them.
Much bigger.
Reflect on them.
Yes. It sounds like your program is a big percentage is mindset.
Absolutely. I had at one point thought my book could be titled Mind Over Matter, or It's a Mental Thing. But
yes, it is.
When I became CEO of the turnaround bank, one of the things I was doing was commuting every week and then also having to commuting to Southern California from Northern California every week. And then also having to travel to Mexico and overseas and to New York. And I was living out of suitcases and trying to figure out how to eat healthy and stay the same size and stay high energy, because I'm a very high energy person, to really take the team through very difficult times, hire a great team, plan the path of attack, if you will, to solve the big, hairy, audacious problems, and then celebrate the wins. And so to do that, I had to take care of myself physically. And so a lot of the title of the book came from that period of my life of Fit CEO, be the leader of your life.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's such a powerful part of us, the inner working, the self-awareness. It just feels like you open a door to something, like you mentioned, something much bigger. And another thing that you mentioned that really resonated with me is that fun aspect. I don't start the day with anything but fun. I'm just can't wait to meet people on the show. Wait to do things, like everything. Like when I meet with a client, it's just fun.
Right.
I just wanted to be around fun, and because that energy just brings about the enthusiasm, the love, the joy. I just feel like it has so much power behind it that even a small amount of stress can derail everything, you know?
And the positive energy is courageous. I think the answer a lot to stress is to be kind to yourself and say, it's okay. Stress happens.
Yeah.
It happens all
Love
the
yourself.
time. And we have to be kind to ourselves and say, yeah, the airplane got canceled. That's stressful. Yeah, the meeting moved. That's stressful. Yeah, someone got ill. That's stressful.
Yeah.
Live with it for just so much, but resiliency, the resiliency is how fast you can move through it to not have it dominate your mindset.
Yeah. I work on these paradigms, right? And one of them is to look for good in everything. And it was probably one of the most difficult paradigms I had to work on. But in that situation, when something like that happens, you create that mindset that everything is going to happen regardless, no matter what is going to happen. We're flowing through each moment by moment, and challenges and problems are going to come, but just be okay with it, that let it come through like anything else. And when you start becoming comfortable with that, let it flow through and go to the next moment, it starts becoming calmer. It starts becoming more with ease, and it doesn't affect you as much as it used to.
You know, you're making me think of people often ask me, like, what's your best advice? What's your best advice? And I used to tell teams or people who would ask me individually for advice, one of my favorite phrases is be a duck. Let it roll off your back. So if you think about that.
Yeah, I love that.
So the flow through that you're talking about really makes me think about letting it roll off your back. Now, people may not see how fast you're paddling underwater, but you are letting it, the more you let it flow off of you or roll off of you, you do absorb the calmness, even if you're paddling quickly under the water to get to your destination.
Yeah, I love that. So when you got into all this, since your childhood, did you have this capability of a strong inner world, or is there a story behind it that made you kind of transform? Is there something that you can share regarding that journey?
As a child, I have tons of energy. I had a sister who passed away before I was born. And I think I sometimes thought my parents gave me her middle name. And I think I sometimes thought I had two lives in me. So maybe that's where my high energy came from. That's one little thing. And when I was 4, my father got very ill and we were told that he would pass away. And I think I learned very quickly from my mother to live for now, because we didn't know how long he'd live. He had cancer, unfortunately. And so I got a number of gifts from very stressful situations. From death, I got a gift of energy, and from illness, I got a gift of live for now. So I think you talk about how a lot of your past influences your mindset, which it does. Plus, I don't know where it came from, but I love business. I had a business in my room. My mom didn't like shopping, and so I'd go make things and buy things. And when I saw she needed something, I'd buy it or make it and resell it to her, and then learned that other people would want that too. And I had a little shop in my room called
Solution Finder.
Yeah. So I always was very interested in business. And then later in life, I went to business school and loved international business, and then started a career eventually in financial services.
So, what has been the most important lesson you have learned during your career as a CEO?
Wow, the most important lesson for me, everything starts with culture. I really spend a lot of time intentionally on building a very healthy culture. And when I took over the bank as a CEO, I put together a 4-pillar framework for us around customer centricity, operational excellence, employee engagement, and shareholder return. And I found that really driving all of our strategies around customer, employee, operating the business with excellence in all areas, regulatory, legal, et cetera, and then driving for that shareholder return gave us a way to make decisions in all meetings. There was no mystery, right? Is this decision we're talking about, is it right for the customer? Is it right for the employee? Can we deliver it with excellence? Can we actually deliver what we're going to promise and do it well and legally and regulatorily correctly? And does it have the right return for our investors and shareholders? And so that made all the recognition programs, all the town hall meetings, all the communications I sent out were always talking about where we were in our customer delight journey, where we were in our employee engagement, where we were in our operational excellence, and where we were in our shareholder return. And it was very transparent, and it made decision making easy. So I'd say the biggest lesson I've learned is start with culture first.
Very good. Can you share a time when you had to make an unpopular decision and basically how you overcame it?
Sure. I've had to make many unpopular decisions. I've had to close.
Yeah.
I'll share the one where I've had to close a business. That's a very hard decision to do.
Oh,
And to do that with my value system intact and integrity, I decided to be really transparent about it and tell everyone far in advance. I told the whole team about 18 months before I knew we'd have to close the business entirely. And I said, look, I will tell everybody as far in advance as possible, hopefully 6 months, but maybe only 3 months, depending on each group of people. But I promise you, I'll tell you at least 3 months before the jobs goes away, but hopefully 6 months. And I'm telling everyone now, it's everyone over 18 months. I didn't know how that would go down. That was pretty radical. It was amazing. No one, I think like 98% of the people stayed. I had a few percentage, about 2% panicked and left and went and found new jobs. But everyone else was, wow, this is because I made it exciting. Like, how often do you get to unwind a business? We've all built businesses. Actually, unwinding a business is much more complicated. Taking care of the customer, planning out how to shut down an operation, lease with your landlord, just so many complexities. We had art that we need to return to another country that had been loaned to us as a gift. So many interesting things. What came of it is each time I would tell a group, okay, your group will be ending in 6 months. And then at the 90-day mark, we made it official. Here's your 90-day notice. I brought in recruiters. I had these open hours that I told all the local companies that we would be doing this for each department, and then brought in local companies and did job fairs, gave them resume services, made it really high road, high value, high. If you stay, you're going to get all this great benefit. People have still write me and say things like, I went back to school during those 18 months at night and got a degree, something I would never have done. You motivated me. Your transparency motivated me. So it really became a gift, even though it was one of the hardest things we had to do.
Yes. Yeah, so true. And Rebecca, you said transparency. It kept coming in my mind about how people are so much passionate about seeing transparency. When they see transparency in leadership, there is that attraction. I'm not sure what it is, a very deep place where when they see that in a leader, they see that in someone, by default, they just want to be loyal. They want to be there. The decision you made to be transparent was probably the most powerful thing that you did in that whole situation, I feel.
It's funny you say that because I used to ask people, like, people would call me up and say, I want to work for you if you ever have an opening. Like, I didn't have any openings. People say, I want to work for you. And I said, why? They're like, you're the most authentic leader I've seen. And I'm like, what does that mean? I'm Rebecca. Of course I'm authentic. I'm me. So it's hard if you're not. I don't know because I'm me. But it is a funny comment. That was a common thread of what people said to me. And I, like you just said, I think of it as I'm very transparent. I'm very clear. I'm very
Yeah.
intentional. But for others, the word they use was authentic, which is table stakes for me.
Because it's not very common. It's unfortunately, we feel when we go in business that we have to play this person at work, and then there's a separate person at home. And it's been like that for a long time.
Yeah.
So when somebody sees transparency, you gravitate to
Yeah.
it.
Power of the mind. So I'll tell you, my other favorite advice I give people is be you. And when in doubt,
Yes,
be
I
more of
agree.
you.
Yeah. So much easier.
Yeah.
So much. You don't have to remember anything. You just
Right.
be you. You meet someone in public somewhere at an event. It's exactly you see them on TV is exactly you, right? So there's no surprises. There's no work involved.
I have some former teammates who'll say, "Hey, I watched your video. I read your book. Wow, it's just like being with you." I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm me.
Yeah, it's me. Oh, that's great. Rebecca, can you share with us what you feel your innermost superpower is that got you to this point in your life?
Innermost superpower that got me to this point in life. I guess two words keep coming up, positive and energy,
Mm,
or maybe enthusiasm is the way I'd say it.
enthusiasm. Yes.
Yeah.
I love
I
enthusiasm.
think that's my superpower.
Yeah. Enthusiasm can shift a lot of things, especially organizations. So that's a great superpower to have, especially with what you do and how you help businesses.
Yeah. Great question. Thanks
Yeah,
for
that's
asking
great.
it.
Yeah, as part of our thing here on our show, we always ask that one question from our guests to understand what's going on in the inner world. My complete interest is the inner, is the power that's behind that person, the mindset.
Positive energy, enthusiastic,
I love it.
how I show
Yeah,
up.
love it. That could be your new on your business card, positive energy, enthusiasm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's great. No, it's great, Rebecca. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to come on our show. It was great talking to learn what you've been through, what you're going through, and how you're launch your own business, and how you're out there helping people increase their business and growth. And especially the biggest thing is the mindset part,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
when you do that with them in the business world, but it has a ripple effect into their personal life, into their kids. Gone those days when you go home and you take it out on your family when you have problems during work, right? But people like you, what you're doing in people's lives is that is ending, and kids are growing up more happier.
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful? And Shahid, I'd love it if
Yeah.
I could tell your listeners that if they want to get the book Fit
Please.
CEO, they can get
Yes,
it at
please.
fitceobook.com or at any bookseller, and would love to link in with me on LinkedIn and tell me what you think. I love feedback. It's just such a gift.
That is great. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Audience, thank you so much for joining us once again. You heard Rebecca. She a transparent person like this, authentic person like this, with a good heart, doing things out there to make improvements in other people's lives. She deserves your attention and what she has written. See what it's about, and you could tell that she's open to honest feedback and suggestions. It'll help you because you're on the journey on entrepreneurship. And especially if you want to get help, you want to get help from someone that's involved with majority mindset, because that is the power center. That is what makes the change. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Shahid.
Rebecca,
This is so
thank
wonderful.
you so much.
Appreciate it.